Today on Wolves Talk, we'll be joined by Sudbury Wolves head coach Corey Stillman. He's also a two-time Stanley Cup champion. Thanks for being with us. I really appreciate that. I'm sure you're not just sitting around twiddling your thumbs these days wondering how to fill your time.
No, actually days are full. Right now there's doing a lot of video, and today we were at 12:30 getting on a bus and heading to the Sioux to play in a big game tonight. And we've played them well throughout the season. I think this is game 5 of 6 games. We've seen them a lot early out of a 6-game season, and we've played well against them, and hopefully we can do it again today.
Yeah, definitely. I would think the same too. Now, you are relatively new to Sudbury and probably just getting settled in. So for the people who are listening, let us know a little bit about Corey Stillman, what it was like growing up as a young hockey player on your road basically to the NHL.
Well, I grew up in Peterborough, Ontario. Played minor hockey there until I actually played Tier 2, Junior B down there, which is equivalent to the Rayside Canadians or French River, right? So I was fortunate. I lived on a park in the backyard. My dad went out and actually built a rink. And it wasn't just for me, it was for everybody. And it didn't matter whether you were 6 years of age or 16, there was one game and you played in there. And I think going outside, playing pickup hockey, having fun with no rules and no systems, and really playing against older people. Maybe at one time when you're young you are a travel hockey player or a AAA player, but when you're playing against a kid that's 3, 4, maybe 5 years of age older that plays house league or pickup or whatever, they're just as skilled as what you are. But I spent a lot of hours out of there. I gotta be thankful for him. He put in, I would go out and skate. Yet, with my own kids now, when I was at home, you have you go out, you shovel it, you flood it, you scrape it, you do all that, and they come out and enjoy it. But so I did that. I went on to play 2 years for the Windsor Spitfires. Was drafted from there into the Calgary Flames organization. Went back, played for the Peterborough Petes. So I am a junior guy. I love the OHL. I love the junior hockey. I think it is still the best league in the world that produces the most kids to go on to play in the NHL. Spent a couple years in the minors, learning to play a pro game, getting bigger and stronger, and after that was able to play, I think, 16, almost 17 years in the NHL. So, and now I turn circle and I'm right back in the OHL doing what I love to do. I love coaching, I love teaching kids, and we're changing things here in Sudbury. It's a slow process. As a coach, you'd like to come in and be in first place right away, but we made a lot of changes. We have a lot of young guys now, but moving forward, the Sudbury Wolves organization is moving in the right direction, and that's up.
And I want to talk more about the Sudbury Wolves and your experience with them and some of your goals for them. But if we can backtrack just a little bit about what was your experience like playing in the NHL, first and foremost?
Well, it's a dream come true. I think as a kid growing up, when you play outside, you're always dreaming of really scoring playing in the Stanley Cup Finals and scoring the goal. Unfortunately, I didn't score the goal. I actually have back-to-back assists on game-winning goals on 2 different teams. But you get there, you realize how good the players are and how fast the game is, but how much you love the game too. You have to come to the rink every day wanting to learn, wanting to improve, getting better, but also enjoying that feel. Now, you get out there, there's someone trying to take your job every day. They have four lines. They probably, I was a forward, we carried 13 forwards. Some teams would have 14 or 15. And then you have the minor league team that would also have another 12 or 14 forwards. So there's a lot of guys wanting to play top minutes where there's only really 4 positions. So, but if you get in there, you play, you find you realize what you do well and what you have to do. I went from playing in the minors to playing on a 4th line, which is more of a dump and chase and bang, to eventually, within a couple of years, getting up to play in the top 6 position. And when you're in the top 6, you're there to produce, and that's all they care about. Don't get scored on and score goals. But as far as jumping and playing in front of 15 to 20,000 fans to play a game that you love, that you would do outside, there's no better feeling.
You're very humble, by the way, because you played over 1,000 games in the NHL. You're only one of 11 players who won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Mind you, there was a lockout in the middle of that, which is interesting too, right? With 2 different teams, and you're pretty much almost a point a game player throughout that time, which is remarkable, actually. And I could see why. So after your NHL career, you got involved back with the Hurricanes as part of their player development.
Yeah.
And so, tell us a little bit how it was like going from player to player development on an NHL team, now to head coach of an OHL team.
All right, so I would say going into the Tampa year, I was brought in to play with some younger guys. You could say you're old, but at that time I think I was 31. But I worked well with the 19 to 22-year-old players coming in, and I wouldn't say I was a coach, but I was a mentor that way. So I went from playing with Marty St. Louis and Vinny Lecavalier and Brad Richardson on that team to switched over to play. I was brought in to play with Eric Stahl, and then played there for 3 years, and then was brought in to play with Nathan Horton. So I had a role. I knew what my role was. I could produce. I could not necessarily score, but put up some points. But it was to teach the kids. So I knew coming to the end of my career, I wanted to stay in the game of hockey. Dale Talon was a GM there of Florida at that time. He traded me to Carolina, so I retired out of the Carolina Hurricanes. And he said, the day that I retire, give him a call. He has a job for me. Not knowing what that was, I told him that I was going to retire. He says, I'd like you to come in and work with our young guys because I've seen what you've done. I was there for a year. Got called to go back to Carolina, where the coach, the GM, assistant coaches were still part of the group that I played with. And when you win a Stanley Cup, you're a tight team, and the guys stay tight years after. So I got into there helping with kids, and Carolina's now probably had 4 or 5 kids that have been late draft picks that have gone on, that have signed pro contracts, which is what you want. You think the first rounder is usually a sure shot, guaranteed to make the NHL. You get an opportunity. It's what you do with your lower picks, your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Say, is how do we get them to play, or at least play pro, if not push someone to play in the NHL. So I got into that. It's different. You were in and out once in a while. You go watch the kids, you talk to them, you mentor them, tell them your experiences. And then, so I moved from there into coaching, where I'm still doing the same thing, except I'm here every day. And I think you can see some improvements in the guys that we have here in Sudbury from last year to this year, even for our rookies that are learning to play the game. And, they're starting to produce. And I think, and I'm hoping, which is a hard word to say in this game, because if you hope to score, it doesn't happen. But I'm thinking the development we're getting here come Christmas time will be a much better hockey team.
I think that's been my prediction anyways, that this team's just ready to happen. There's something ready to happen. It's on the verge.
We're on the verge of it. We have to go and stay and believe we can do it. We played some games, we played Sarnia the one night, shot them 50. We had over 50 shots, and we didn't win. We played the Sioux well. Besides Owen Sound, we've beaten Barrie, a ranked team. So we're there. We just have to bring it for 60 minutes, and then on that side, if we play well Wednesday, learn how to play well Friday and Sunday. And so for this week, we have a Wednesday, Friday, Sunday game. It's an important weekend, and as long as we're hanging around the 8th spot by Christmas time, as I said, I think in the second half, the last 34 games, you're going to see a different team.
Now, you're now a coach, full-time coach in the OHL. Who are some of the coaches you looked up to as you're, in your whole hockey career, basically?
Well, I had a few of them. I played on 6 or 7 teams, and go back to junior and tier 2 and all this. So you take a little bit from everybody. You take some drills. You take the way they approached the game, how they spoke to players. I couldn't really pinpoint any of them. I can group them all into a category. I could even go back to my junior B coach, Bud Stefanski was my father-in-law, who who coached the Barrie Colts, and so he's been right in the junior level. Pete DeBoer coached in the junior level. I played for him. Peter Laviolette, who I played in Carolina, has gone to the Cups. I think 2 or 3 years has gone to the Stanley Cup Finals with different organizations in a quick turnaround. So I had John Tortorella, I had Brian Sutter. I was old school and new school. So you take a little bit. The game's changing, evolving, and I think you continue to watch, you continue to learn, and then take everything from everybody and put it together and make it your own.
A little bit of an it's not interesting fact, but not every day a coach of an opposing OHL team has to coach against his son, who's also in the OHL. Describe a little bit of those feelings. How does that feel?
You know what? You go from coaching them in minor hockey to coaching to get it, and I think you know the ins and outs, and you just really don't say too much about it. You hope that he does well. But on the other hand, we want to beat them, and he's competitive. He knows we'll compete, and I would never say a kid to lay off him. Or we play a system, and if he's the guy to hit. But it's easy to have conversations between each other now with the games and what players are doing.
Yeah, for sure. Now we talked a little bit about that turnaround. Hopefully around mid-season. Andrew Dale was in the other day, and he said there's an interesting stat with the Wolves, historically speaking, where they get off to a little bit of a slow start. Mid-season has always historically been their strong part of the season, and then tapers off a little bit then. He says historically that's just the way it's been.
I didn't know that. I hope that's a good thing to know. Maybe it's when it turns cold and the snow comes, and it's just hit now.
That's
so
right.
it's here. It's hockey season.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good to know. But we'd like to turn things around here. The sooner the better. And I think we're starting to play the right way. We play a hard style of game. Looking in the league stats, and some players, and Dimitri's doing well. He's a plus player this year or from before. We have, again, young guys scoring goals, and when you look at the stats just for goals, for goals against, we can score goals. Offensively, we're there. We've just got to be a little bit tighter defensively, make some, not turn the puck over, make some timely saves, maybe stay with the penalty box a little bit more. But overall, we can come, and day by day, get in, go to work, and for us and for the people coming to watch the game, is to come on a Friday night, walk away saying, I enjoyed that game. Obviously, winning is better than losing, but the team put in a full effort for 60 minutes.